it's interesting that he he raises the issue of trust as
Okay.
central to faith, and I think that there's such a tendency to want to make faith a set of beliefs in things that are really hard to believe,
Hmm.
rather than to be to have one's life, to discover one's life is made possible by a being that is capable of loving me in spite of who I am, and therefore it creates the conditions of trust that
Hmm.
I can live with an enthusiasm for the gift of life that is otherwise absurd if this God is not the God revealed in Jesus Christ.
Hmm. Uh, I you know, Tillich had said trust is another word for faith. And so I was a little nervous when Bart uses trust. However, the way you've articulated it, also, it seems to me trust is, in my experience, here I'm flying back into my experience immediately, but trust is not something that you sort of decide. It's more than cognitive. It's trusting another to be the other, who uh, is, that you can put that sort of trust in. Um, Again, I like the idea of meeting and uh, encounter, and he's really fighting a notion of faith as something that arises out of you in favor of faith as what happens in address and encounter.
He's clearly always thinking of Schleiermacher
Yeah.
and that that account of faith. And for him, I mean, faith is trust, but it's also knowledge,
Yeah.
and the knowledge comes in language, and um, uh, the language is always asking for further um, interaction with
Hmm.
other language. And
Faith as knowledge. Um, that seems to me a very Barthian kind of thing. I can remember the impression it made on me as a student to hear Barth say things like, the only difference between a Christian and a non-Christian is noetic. A Christian is simply somebody who knows something that a non-Christian does not yet know. And he doesn't want to make my knowledge in any way an achievement of mine. Uh, and also, he doesn't want to claim too much for my faith. Uh, Faith is a gift. It's not my achievement.
yeah, I mean, that I love Bart's kind of view. Oh, don't take your unbelief that seriously.
He makes that statement explicit on page 21. Uh, I do think we have been living in an age when we take our unbelief with great seriousness.
And his view is that, and it's embodied here. The view is if you um, if you take your unbelief seriously and think that you must give an account of faith in God that will defeat your unbelief, then you have made unbelief more powerful than it is, than it should be.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
so the method is not
yeah.
to try to provide an
Uh,
account that necessitates belief in God, because
Yeah.
that makes it something less than the gift. But faith is knowledge, and it is a critical, ongoing, rational endeavor. One of the things that I think Barth does is refuse a strong distinction between faith and reason. I,
Yes.
I've tended over the years just to avoid the word faith and stress more faithfulness as part of what the formation of the language.
Faithfulness. Yeah, I think, we do well to avoid both reason and faith words. I mean, because in our context, they have to be. I feel a story coming on. When I was at YDS, I remember it seemed like it was Rowan Greer's class, we had a Greek Orthodox priest come in and talk on the creeds. And he was talking on the Apostles' Creed and the creedal controversies in the 4th century. And an earnest young man, it was the 60s, said, Father Theotokos, how can I say the creed with integrity when I have reservations about some of its claims? And Father Theotokos said, it's not that hard. You just repeat, you just say, I believe in God the Father Almighty. It's fairly easy. He said, no, I mean, how can I with integrity when I don't believe certain aspects of the creed? And this Greek Orthodox priest looked confused by the whole discussion, and he says, it's not that difficult. It's only about 40 or 50 words. You just say, I believe. Just say, repeat after me. I believe in God the Father Almighty. And so, in great frustration, the young man just said, I just don't believe I should be up there acting like I believe when I don't. And the priest said, how old are you? And he said, 26. He said, it takes some people longer than others. Keep saying it. And he says, even if it never comes to you, who cares? It's our faith. It's our creed. And I say at that moment, my whole epistemology from the 60s wilted. And but that is a very kind of, seems to me, Barthian way of saying the creed is stating, if you will, a fact. That's a problematic word, but and you, belief is an assent, but it's not more than that. And so